blade, right? A good idea or principle to understand that is that if he didn't have a blade and I want to hit him hard in the stomach, it's something about his physical fitness. You know, how many sit-ups, push-ups, he can take it. Wow, big guy like that, no problem. But with a knife, he can't take it. It doesn't matter how hard he trained, with the knife, he can't accept that. So the focus of this style is on technique. It's not fitness and power, because this doesn't take any power. So the essence of the art is very precise technique, and it's a very fluid style. It's a soft style. It's not hard. It doesn't take a lot of power. Its philosophy is more on the combative side. It's not a self-defense. It's more of a combative application. So it's a traditional way to fight in a combative context. So it's a little bit aggressive with knife work like that, but it also gives you a lot of material, capabilities to defend against the knife. And so you can use application for self-defense and things like that. In this system, or in this style, we train in different dynamics. For example, we have what we call passive. And passive is that if he attacked me, he would stay passive after. I might do different techniques, but he's passive. Then we have another which is interactive, which would say maybe if he attacked me and then he starts to interact, we start to exchange. And in that, it's, the dynamic is a little bit more complicated. And then the third is preemptive. So preemptive is he goes to attack or goes to defend, and I counter before. So the timing is a little bit more advanced in terms of your principles, and your skills have to be a little bit more advanced. What I'll show now is the second, interactive, a way to train. And this training, it offers you dynamics for timing. Also, it's the way we look at it is like a library of techniques. So you have a drill, a series of movement, or a chain, and each technique inside is has its flexibility. So you can use this technique in the way the drill uses it, or you can modify it for another application, and I'll explain that to you in a moment. We'll progress for three different drills, and I'll show you how it ends up. So the first drill, if he attacks one, I have target displacement again and deflection. We put those two principles together, and then I give it back to him. And it's just a real basic exchange to develop timing for your eyes, as well as coordination for your hands, right? So we want to make it reflex and not robot. You're not just a robot. You have to reflex for the attack, right? So that's one issue. In this technique, if you will, when he attacks, the danger after is that he continue. So I deflect this attack, but he continue with another. So often what we do is we cover after, covering this part of the body, and then check. And then I return, and he does the same, right? Okay, so then we can take this idea of the angle, and I block. It's a different technique, a different principle, and cover and clear. So we don't have the movement, but if I block here, the danger now is that he comes low. So I block and cover, and then check, right? And this one, it doesn't have any footwork. So what we can do is we can develop different contexts and understand timing and manipulation of the space as well. Okay? Inside of that, you can add counter point. So, an example, when he attacks, I can just cut. and after he doesn't have the capability to work. So that is one level or layer. In a self-defense, like that, and I run. In a combative context, it might continue into another finish idea. So your intention, or what we would call engagement responsibilities, become important. Am I a policeman and I'm just defending myself, but I have to restrain him? Or is it my home and he's an invader and I'm protecting a child? We have to be flexible in that kind of application. Okay? If I take that, keep it. The same principles for empty hand. What changes is your ability to manipulate. This is, again, what I talk about. If I hit with my hand, it's not the same if I pick. So, consequence of your action become very important. Okay? From these ideas now, we can add disarming, manipulation, because I have the balance or the ability with my hands. So the series or the development, a lot of the techniques can remain the same, right? And then working on in another way, right? Taking the same to empty hands, same principles, working on a percussion way. So I can take this cut here and turn it into a hit, right? Same motion in general, different effect on the body, okay? When you're in this area, now we can start to manipulate into grappling, working on manipulation. So in that, again, it's about what is your goal? Do I need to take him down and restrain him? Do I just want to break and move? Right? So it's a flexible style that operates in the longest range for this style is about foot length away. Right? Cadena de Mano will cover this range with all weaponry you can fit in that range. So it could be a knife, hand, could be a stick, bottle, whatever. Okay? So this is one style called Cadena de Mano. After we did in this range, there's a space that you could be in this range or you could be in this range. So I'm a little bit far away, but this is working more with a stick. So in that, it's almost the same distance away. But now we have this extension that offers a whole bunch of different possibilities. Traditionally, this style is a blade, like that. So about the same length, but a very different consequence. Again, as a demonstration, I can hit with that and it's going to hurt, but a tough guy can take 1, 2 of that. But with that, it's not the same. So again, technique becomes really important depending on what you're using. But again, it's flexible, it's adaptable. It doesn't have to be a blade, it doesn't have to be a stick. It can be a newspaper, can be different objects you could find in your home, an umbrella, things like that. So this style is based on principles of angles of attack. So there's only so much surface area on your body, only so many ways you can attack that surface. It divides the body into target areas and trajectories to reach the target. And it defends against those angles using 3 basic principles: evasion, deflection or manipulation, or some kind of blocking response, or a combination of those. And so I can show you a little bit about that. For example, if he just stands there like that, some of the angles of attack: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are just an example of how the attacks might come. And then as a structure of defense, we have 3 basic counters to every angle. And this is working in what we call, again, a passive state. So if he attacks me and I counter, he's passive. So this is just for me to understand how to work with my weaponry. So I'm not tying myself in a knot, you know. I have the coordination to work around different lines, different targets, and so on. Passive, right? From that, I'm working from a neutral stance. So if he attacks me, I'm working from that passive position here as well. So it's not an en garde, which is the next. The en garde is an attitude of a fight, where I've changed, I'm ready to engage. And in this context, we have what we call lock and block, which takes the skills that you build in the basic form, those 3 basics, and we put him under stress. So if he does a basic counter, we have something that defines the style, the way to operate, a style. That's our basic techniques. From that, if he keeps going basics, right? Then what we do is we take him from this static position and we put him in the en garde position, and we go into an environment that uses stress or reflex action and pro-action or proactivity. So you have to balance both. Example, he's proactive here. Everything doesn't do nothing for him, no stress. But if I change the timing, now he has to react and he has a reflex action. So I can make it very complicated for him to deal with the combination. He doesn't know what I'm going to feed, but he has to respond. When I interrupt him, he's in an en garde position. So he's already in the fight mode. So that's something about what capability of coordination he has in this kind of position. Okay? The third level, the third way, is to build a response from an engaged position. So an example is that he hit me and I blocked it. So now I'm going to hit him and he has to respond with the style from this kind of engaged position. So he has to reflex. Now I have to reflex because he's going to hit me. And then he reflexes. So it becomes an exchange of reflex. Because there's no time to think in that kind of state. And it becomes reflex. So that's a progression of attitude in your body. From going neutral to engaged. En garde, to engage, and reacting in those 3 contexts. Okay? So that's something about the mental training that is going to happen in stress progression. So in this, he's no stress, everything's cool, no problem. Lock and block, we balance the stress, a little bit of stress, but then also he's cool. And then the third, again, we've got stress the whole time. It's always stressful. Okay? So this is the basic, or what we call the heart of the system, because of the space. It's a central space, and then there's the long range and the close range. Cadena de mono we covered, serrata, and then largo mono. So we bridge the gap. I can go in or I can go out from this style. Okay? Real basic idea. If we take the same context, one more knife, blade like that, okay, and we look at the interaction of the weaponry on the same context of a blade, right? Okay. So not intense at the moment. We're just trying to show you the nature of the style. But it all comes down to how we want to train. An example, we can train really cool like this, and it's about form. It's about position and precision. If we take a stick and we start to hit each other, we get excited, then it's about stress, and you have a different feeling in your body of operating. So you have tension and you have fear like that. But you're doing the same material, same style, but the intensity is different. And if you get out of that, different benefit, whether it's the ability to operate under stress, or also the precision and precision of your movements. Again, with that, technical, he's that far off, and he's got a real problem if that's inside, right? So it becomes really